Australians will be asked a simple yes or no question in a referendum about an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice to Parliament. Let's go live to Matt Cunningham at the Garma Festival. Matt, it's great to see the new Prime Minister there, and he will announce further details at a speech today.
That's right, we're expecting him to speak at about 11:30 Sydney time, Tim. But yeah, it was really quite a moving event yesterday afternoon at the opening ceremony of the Garma Festival here in northeast Arnhem Land. Anthony Albanese was presented with a yidaki, a gift from the local Gumatj people. He then made quite a moving speech to the crowd. But in his speech today, he's going to outline the details that the government has around a voice to Parliament and a referendum question. And it's going to be a very simple question that will be put to the Australian people. Anthony Albanese in his speech today will say that that question will be, do you support an alteration to the Constitution that establishes an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice? There will also be 3 constitutional amendments. These are draft amendments that are being put forward by the government. We might have a look at these now as well. The first one is that there shall be a body to be called the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. The second is that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice may make representations to Parliament and the executive government on matters relating to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. And the third is that the Parliament shall, subject to this Constitution, have power to make laws with respect to the composition, functions, powers and procedures of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. Now, this question actually answers a few questions, Tim, about what's actually going to happen with this Indigenous voice to Parliament and a question in a referendum. Basically, what the Prime Minister will be saying today is that his government wants to get the Indigenous voice to Parliament enshrined in the Constitution, and then the government will be able to alter the details along the way as to how that body might actually work. But let's go back to Anthony Albanese at this opening festival yesterday when he took that gift from the Gumatj people and then made this commitment again to deliver on the Uluru Statement from the Heart.
We should be proud of it, we should celebrate it, and we should recognise it in our national birth certificate, the Constitution of Australia. We will walk on that journey, and together we will get this done.
That was Anthony Albanese speaking at the opening ceremony here yesterday. He was surrounded by a huge crowd of people. He actually walked from the area where the key forum's held here at the Garma Festival down to the Bungle ground where the dancing occurs here, which is just near where we're standing right now. And then there were some pretty colourful scenes as the Gumatj dancers performed around the Prime Minister. Anthony Albanese coming back to the Garma Festival today. We're expecting him here in about 2 hours' time, and we will hear that speech from him and more detail around the government's proposal for this Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice to Parliament.
Yeah, look forward to that speech, and we'll see a lot of that covered in Sunday Agenda tomorrow with Kieran and Andrew. The thing that I wanted to mention was, because we've been watching your story all morning, I found it hard to believe, almost unbelievable, that we haven't had a Prime Minister at this event in 8 or 9 years. It would seem to be a real priority.
Well, it has been an interesting history, Tim. Tony Abbott, when he was first elected Prime Minister, you'll remember that he made a commitment to spend a week in a remote Aboriginal community every year while he was Prime Minister. Now, the first year that he was elected, he spent a week here in northeast Arnhem Land at the Garma Festival. He spent another week in Cape York. Of course, he was only Prime Minister for 2 years. Malcolm Turnbull came here to the Garma Festival in 2017. That was just after the Uluru Statement from the Heart was first delivered, but we haven't seen a Prime Minister here since. Now, of course, there are a couple of reasons for that. One is an unwillingness for them to come, I suppose, but also this festival's been cancelled in 2019 and 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But you'd have to say that there was a huge welcome for Anthony Albanese when he arrived here yesterday, and there was a pretty special moment, I think, when Anthony Albanese took that yidaki that he'd been given by the Gumatj people, he held it aloft to the crowd, and he made that commitment to deliver on the Uluru Statement from the Heart. So we now know what the referendum question is going to be. The big question from here, Tim, is whether the Australian people are willing to accept that question and vote yes to an Indigenous voice to Parliament. I think there's still a fair way to go before the government can make the case to Australian people that that's what they should do.
Absolutely. All right, thanks for that, mate. We'll get back to you throughout the course of the day.